In December last year, I had to go to the West Coast for work, and instead of flying back, I found a 16-day cruise on board the Island Princess that went from San Francisco through the Panama Canal and ended up in Fort Lauderdale. Welcome to the Island Princess. This time I sprung for a balcony cabin because I am on this ship for 16 days. So here it is, the standard balcony cabin. Lots of natural light. Giant bed, which I think is 2 beds pushed together. Giant mirror, which makes the room seem so much bigger. Another mirror, a great desk space. Television, which I never actually end up watching on cruise ships. And this is probably a little fridge. I like that there's lots of surface area, 2 side tables, drawers, desk, drawers, little cubby holes. Then this is where I plan to spend a lot of time because this is a warm weather cruise to Central America. Let's see if I can go out there. Right now we're in San Francisco. I'm a huge fan of land and sea travel because you get to see so much more of a place than just flying over it. This trip was also right before the holidays, so there were some great last-minute deals, and it coincided with a government shutdown, so I was pretty iffy about flying anyway. I didn't book a shore excursion for Puerto Vallarta because it looks pretty easy to get around. I might try to find the hop-on, hop-off bus because it stops right outside the cruise terminal and it takes you on what looks like a really nice 2.5-hour loop around the town. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. There really is not any signage for the hop-on, hop-off bus, but it is in the parking lot outside the terminal. If you ask around, people will point you in the right direction. And for $25 for a one-day ticket, it is so worth it for a first-timer to Puerto Vallarta.
Arquitectura funcionalista Puerto Vallarta. Just up ahead, it is possible to find Hidalgo Park, a nostalgic place for all the people living in Vallarta.
I don't think a lot of these streets are made for giant buses, so I have to like duck down to not get hit by wires. At the Malecon stop, you can get off the bus for like 25 minutes and then get back on, or the next bus comes in about 45 minutes. So I think I'm gonna get off the bus and run up and down the boardwalk for a second and then get back on the same bus.
Wallace Mountain Range, a mining town above 80 kilometers from Puerto Vallarta. This is Basilio Vadillo Street, a Mexican revolutionary, writer, journalist, and politician who gives a name to this street. He was the Jalisco's state governor from 1921 to 1922. You find restaurants, bars, and local shops on this trendy street.
Okay, this is how close the ships are to the Walmart ships. Walmart, Sam's Club, ships, Walmart, Sam's Club. In the end, I got a Topo Chico and some snacks. This resort city is so friendly and so easy to navigate, especially if you want to go to Walmart. Just follow the crowd that leaves the ship because lots of people will be heading there. In Guatemala, I signed up for the Best of Puerto Quetzal Colonial Antigua with lunch excursion, and it was the best.
Good morning, everyone. Where's my fishing pole? Say again? Where's my fishing pole?
Stone, or in some cases volcanic stone, but mostly is river stone. And
even though I am mostly a solo traveler, I don't always book an excursion from the cruise port, but I felt like I had to here because Colonial Antigua is quite a long drive away from where the cruise ship is docked. And because you're only in port for a day, I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss the ship going back. I felt very lucky. This tour was excellent. Our tour guide knew so much about the city, and we covered a lot of ground in one short day. They took really good care of us, and I would highly, highly recommend this tour. The Central Park of Antigua. So there's the park, and then you have all these like craft shops, ATM, and then you have a Wendy's.
I'm a man of my word. 3 minutes.
After a long day of walking, I was so impressed they took us to lunch in a beautiful private theater at a 5-star hotel. It was incredible. Friend. Hello, friend. There are people down there already leaving on their excursions. And you have to walk down this really long gangway. I don't know what that's called. Look at all those buses. I do not have an excursion booked for today, but I am going to get off the ship and walk around a little bit in the cruise port area. The cruise is docked at the end of a really long walkway, as you saw, with all the buses on it. And it's about a 15-minute walk. They said it's like a mile walk. This is the Princess Patter. They leave this in your room every day with all the day's programming. They said it's about 10 or 15 minutes walk to the land that this long walkway is attached to. I don't know if this small island or a peninsula, I don't know technically what it is because it is connected to the mainland by a road. I don't know if that is all of Puntarenas, but that is what I'm going to try to explore a little bit on foot this morning. There are a lot of restaurants there. There is a lighthouse at the end of the island that apparently is really pretty. So I'm just going to do a little bit of walking around. I do have some calls this afternoon that I have to jump on, and I do also want to do laundry. I don't know if you can see behind me. There's on the bed. I can't.
Good morning.
morning. Okay, I got off the ship around 9 or 9:30 and it's still really quiet. I think there's this like quiet time in between when people leave for their excursions and when the shops open. So there are some stores open, but not a lot. It's not that long of a walk to the lighthouse, although it does seem long because there's a stretch in the middle of this island. The island is not very big, but there's a stretch where there's not a lot open before 11 a.m. So it seems to drag, but it really only is like a 15-minute walk. I think it's pretty surprising that not a lot of people just walk the island themselves. I think a lot of people went off to like the jungle and see monkeys and wildlife and stuff. But I'm pretty, like there's like literally no one around me. Okay, when you arrive in Panama, you arrive in this like super modern terminal, and there are all these people outside or drivers, and they're picking up, and you can take one of them because they're licensed. But I'm gonna go try to find the hop-on, hop-off bus because look, there's this guy following me. No, thank you. No, gracias. So like they'll follow you out to the exit. But now I'm walking by the water. I'm gonna exit the terminal, and I mean apparently the bus just stops right outside the terminal. It's a beautiful day. Okay, I can't find the hop-on, hop-off bus to like save my life. It's not anywhere close to where our cruise stops, so I'm just gonna try to get an Uber. Okay, I called an Uber, pick up in 12 minutes. Apparently you have to call an Uber Black here because the other ones just cancel, but it's not expensive, so. As a solo traveler, I would say that if you have Uber on your phone, you've downloaded some Google Maps, and you have a general lay of the land, an idea of what tourist destinations and landmarks you want to see, it is perfectly easy, safe, and comfortable to navigate around Panama City on your own. I didn't veer far from the beaten path, so maybe that's the caveat here, but I felt totally comfortable and I had a great time. It was not difficult at all. It was very hot, but it was not difficult at all, and I totally felt safe and comfortable the entire day. Okay, I'm at the Herrera Square, and I don't know if any of you guys watch 90 Day Fiancé, but this is the square where Jasmine and Gino got into a huge fight, and I really want to take a picture on the bench, but there are these guys who are sitting on the bench right behind me, so I'm gonna like lurk around here until they leave the bench, and then I'm gonna ask them to take a picture of me. Okay, I'm gonna go try to find the hop-on, hop-off bus again, because I think it might be a little bit easier to find in the main city, since they give you an exact location. It's called Castor Bar. I've been on this bus for a while. I'm sitting at the lower level because there's so many people upstairs, but there's no one down here. It's actually great, like $20 if you don't get on the bus. A little hard to find and doesn't run according to the schedule that's on the website. But if you ask around, everybody knows about the red double-decker bus, so they can help you and they'll tell you when it's coming. I think I'm gonna get out of the bus at the Bio Museo or the Bio Museo. I don't know how to say it. Might go in because it's that really famous Frank Gehry building. And then from there, I will probably get an Uber back to the shipboard because it's quite a long walk in between the stops that are on the island closest to the shipboard, so not super practical. It's so hot outside. It's really like, I mean, I have not stopped being pink all day. I feel fine though, so it's been a great day. Good morning. It is Panama Canal Day. It is 5:30 in the morning. I've been up since about 3:30 because I've been nervous that I wouldn't wake up on time. So I'm just getting coffee. Even if the buffet is closed, you can still scoot to the back usually and get a coffee. So that's what I did this morning. And I'm planning on heading up to the 10th and 11th deck, where I think they're opening up the forward for us. I'm not totally sure. I went to a lecture the other night and they said that they recommend being on 10 and 11 forward for the opening of the locks in the morning. And then if you want, you can scoot to the back on 8 to see the locks close behind you, which is quite cool. And they also recommend being on the 7th deck promenade on starboard or port side, so you can see the sides of the locks, which are going to be super close. I think we only have a total of 4 feet of clearance. I don't know if that's on either side or a combined total of both sides, but this is the entire reason I booked a balcony cabin, so I could just sit on my balcony if I wanted to. Here's the schedule for today. We are scheduled to go under the Bridge of Americas at 6:30. Okay, I was standing there for like 2.5 hours and my legs hurt, so I'm gonna try to go back to my room and sit on my balcony and see what I can see from there. Okay, I got some coffee and some muesli. Now I'm in my room. It is so worth getting a balcony room for the Panama Canal. I don't know if you can tell, but we've actually come up quite a lot, and now the next lock has opened. So we come up and it'll take us about half an hour to get to the Pedro Miguel locks, which is one set of locks before we enter the big lake. We're just approaching the next set of locks. I think this is only one set of locks here. I think we're halfway through the transit. I think we're in the process of going through the third lock. the Pedro Miguel Lock. So now we're departing the Pedro Miguel Lock, and we're going to be in I think we're going to be in the Gatun Lake for the next couple of hours. So what I'm going to try to do now is go to the 8th floor where they said that you can be in the back, and I'm going to try to see if we can see the locks closing. So let's do that. On the map, it says we're getting close to the Culebra Cut, which I was looking this up because they mentioned this in the announcements. This is the Continental Divide. That is a prison. I know it's really raining. This is raining in German. We're about to go through the Gatun locks, G-A-T-U-N, Gatun locks. And I think these are our last locks, but they're gonna take a couple of hours to get through. And we're waiting for the ship in front of us to get a tugboat to help guide them through, I think. I don't know if you can see it from here. It's quite far away. It's down there. It's kind of raining on me. It's down there. It's a big ship, and I think they're waiting for a tug. We were pretty lucky today because it was warm, and even though there was rain, at least it wasn't like blisteringly sunny, because it would have been so difficult to be outside for most of the day. So yeah, we're hanging out on the lake, waiting to go through our last locks, and it's gonna be really sad that it's all culminated in this and then it'll be over. But it's been incredible, and 100%, like 1,000,000%, I would do a Panama Canal cruise again. See you at the back. Meeting in the Princess Theater. Morning. Thank you.
He's the worst driver. You will see San Felipe Fort. San Felipe Fort is the biggest construction that the Spaniards built to protect the city by land. Made by local artists. Camera ready because the best is coming now. But the nightlife here is amazing.
There weren't a ton of excursion options for Cartagena, so I just picked one that looked like it gave a pretty good overview of the touristic parts of the city, and they had some shopping opportunities built in as well, which was great because it was the end of the cruise. I really enjoyed it, and I loved Cartagena. I can't wait to go back. On the way back to the ship, there's like a little nature thing that we walk through. Guys, is it delicious? Here we are. This is it, last stop. Next 2 days at sea, and then we're in Florida. Thank you so much for joining me on this cruise from San Francisco to Fort Lauderdale through the Panama Canal. I loved it. 10 out of 10, would definitely recommend. See you next time.